Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Soulful Hunter Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Mack. Through this podcast, I'm on a mission to transform lives through primal adventure and to spread my mission of mentorship as conservation. This podcast is powered by Washington Backcountry, a resource for all hunters both new and old. To find out more about Washington Backcountry, go to wabackcountry.com or search for Washington Backcountry on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The Soulful Hunter Podcast is also proudly presented by T&K Hunting Gear. If you haven't heard about T&K, then it's about time you do. I've been using T&K gear out in the field and on hunts and have fallen in love with their stuff. T&K is veteran-owned and 100% made in America using only American-made products. All their gear is covered under a lifetime warranty with no questions asked. If it breaks or fails, they will fix it or replace it for free. T&K is your resource for bino harnesses, bow slings, and a lot more amazing gear. For more information about T&K hunting gear, go to tnkhunting.com or search for them on Facebook and Instagram. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Freedom on and stay soulful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Soulful Hunter Podcast. Today I got a really cool episode, and I am joined by Steve Opat from Alaskan Odysseys and Dennis Stokes of Initial Ascent, and we are here to talk about the Brotherhood of the Traveling Backpack. And this is going to be something that is going to be passed around all over the nation to all sorts of different people on all sorts of different adventures. And I just happen to be a lucky recipient and the second person in line coming from Alaska and a caribou hunt from Steve Opat and Alaskan Odysseys. So coming down to the state of Washington, where I'm going to be taking it on a high buck rifle hunt here in the state of Washington, where I'm going to be pursuing an absolute monster buck that I spotted a couple weeks ago while we were on our fall bear hunt. So Steve and Dennis, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Cheers, bud.
Heck yeah.
Good to join you, man.
Heck yeah. Well, let's dive into this traveling backpack. Obviously, you guys have both recorded with me before, so if any listeners want to hear the history of Initial Ascent or Steve's journey with Alaskan Odysseys, you can go to some of the previous podcast episodes and you can find those, and they are great episodes. Highly recommend it. However, let's dive in to the Brotherhood of the Traveling Backpack. Dennis, I'm going to kick it over to you first, even though that I think Steve is just waiting to share as much information as you can.
I'm just sitting here thinking of shit things to say, so you probably should focus on Dennis.
Oh man, I love it. So one of the things is when I was talking to Dennis and learning about Initial Ascent backpacks, I was like, dude, I got to try one of these. Currently, I run a Mystery Ranch Metcalf and it works. However, I get pain in between my shoulder blades every single time I'm packing out a heavy pack load, and just, at the end of the day, I want to try some new things. Came across Initial Ascent. From what I saw, I loved it. Talked with Dennis, heard all about it. Talked to Steve, really made some connections, and came up with this idea. Dennis, why don't you introduce about the traveling backpack?
So, yeah, and I would love to say that this was my idea, but it was definitely not my idea. I just kind of jumped on the wagon, so to speak, and it's just an amazing concept. I mean, so Steve calls or text, I think it was Steve, and said, hey, this was just out of the blue. He says, hey, have you ever heard of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants? And I'm like, what? So I was laughing. I was like, well, yeah. And he's like, have you seen the movie? And, well, no, I hadn't seen the movie. And so, Steve, what did you say? You had seen the movie, but it was obviously years ago, back when this film was a blockbuster. And what was the whole situation there?
I was just trying to see how low you would go to make a sale, really. I one of the things I did was I asked my sister if she still remembered the movie, because I couldn't remember whether it was just the only thing available when we went into the movie store in my small town that day that she was having a slumber party, or if it was actually a pretty notable movie, so that when people heard the title, The Brotherhood of the Traveling Pack, they would immediately think of the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and get the concept. So we could do it without having to explain it so much. And people would hit the idea and be like, that's friggin' genius. I got to follow this. So Dennis, and there's many reasons to have kids, and boys and girls each have their perks. And one of the perks of Dennis having a daughter is that he gets to watch chick flicks. So sign him up for watching the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I don't know, the next day or something.
Oh yeah.
And he called and says, I love it. Let's come up with our list.
Yep. And so the gist of this movie was that there was this one set of pants that fit four girls?
Four different girls.
Yeah, four different girls, and they're all shapes and sizes. And these pants just magically fit all of them. And they each had different experiences in these pants. And the pants had rules. And so the Brotherhood of the Traveling Pack has rules as well. And so basically what Steve kind of came up with was that, hey, what if we had this one pack that would travel all around the country or all around the world, if you will, and it fit everyone that it was sent to on a different adventure, hunting different animals. And a lot of it is just about the story. And so we came up with it would start with Steve, and he would have an adventure with some folks, and then Steve chose you, Johnny, and now you've got it. And so we have these rules of engagement along with this. And do you have anything to add to that, Steve, or can I jump into the rules?
No, no, only in all these. So yes, I do. I think one of the big opportunities was, we're all these kind of everyday average Joes, and we all dream of having nice things, but we know the financial commitment behind them. And I think part of this for me was to show, either to give 12 people a direct opportunity to have a $700 pack and realize that it's a great value. So 12 people can go on the trip of a lifetime and not have to fork out the $700 for a new pack. And when they're done, they'll probably want to do that because they realize that the one pack does everything they want it to do. I think that was part of it, is to really demonstrate the value, but also to just give direct value to people. Yeah, among other things. Let's go.
It's a great way
go.
to advertise a company that's direct to consumer without people having to, buy something and then be like, oh, well, actually don't like it, and then sell it at a discounted price on like Rock Slide Forum or something. And it's a great way
Yes.
to advertise for Initial Ascent and show that you guys do believe in your product so much that you're willing to try to put it in the hands of as many people as you can through the the Brotherhood of the Traveling Pack.
Yeah, and and I think along with that, I mean, this thing has already kind of taken on a life of its own, really. I mean, you guys were successful in Alaska, and by no means do I mean success is measured only with a harvest, but just success in the experiences and the stories that come with it. And when we talk about our rules of engagement, some of that stuff is included. I mean, the people who receive this pack, there's going to be 12 of them. Two have already basically occurred, and there's going to be 10 more guys. And they're going to have some work to do in order, to fulfill the entire experience of this pack. So we'll talk about those here in a little bit.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so here we are. Steve, you just got done on a caribou hunt where you just had an epic time with your good buddy Tim, and you sent me a pack that is bloodstained, and which we're going to get into the list of the requirements, but one of the things is that you wrote me a note and you talked about the magic, and you hope that the pack brings the magic to me as well. And I'm super excited about that because I am all about the positive energy in this world and the energy flow and all this type of stuff. And there is a random buck that I just happened to see when I was on my way into this long backpack hike hunt in the Cascade Mountains here in the state of Washington, that I was like, man, I'm on a bear hunt, but I can't get this buck out of my mind. And I sent you guys a video of it yesterday. I hope you guys got a chance to see it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like the little girl in the video where she yells at her dad, no one cares about the bighorn sheep. No one cares. Look at what's going on right now. And so I'm really excited to put this to the test. And I take that back. I believe and I know that it's going to bring the magic my way, and this buck is going to step out in the open meadow, and I'm going to get to smoke it. But before we get into that, let's go through the list of the rules of engagement for what goes into the requirements of the Brotherhood of the Traveling Pack.
Okay, so number one, Steve provided a journal, and so you're required to document your hunting adventure in that journal, and Steve did that. I think it's a really cool thing. On hunts, it's not just all spotting game and putting stalks on and everything. There's a lot of downtime, and so I think to be able to do this, to document the hunt, by day, and it doesn't have to be very much, but just something to kind of document those days spent in the field with the pack, I think is important. So that'll be one thing. Number two, in the journal, we want you to list your favorite feature of this IA6K pack system. So that, maybe if you're successful in harvest and you're packing out the animal, maybe it's the most comfortable pack out that you've had to date. Maybe it's the only pack out you've had, but maybe it's the comfort stands out. Number three, capture pictures or content of your hunt with the IA pack. That's pretty self-explanatory. You're typically going to document your hunts, or most people do, with pictures and that sort of thing anyway. Number four, write a personal note in the journal to the person to whom you send the pack. So that's a pretty cool thing. And I know Steve, and you don't have to share this, Johnny, but Steve wrote a personal note to you in the journal. So I think that's a cool thing to do. Number five, take a selfie with the mountain dude atop the highest peak on your hunt. So the mountain dude, that's our logo. That is basically the symbol of our company, and we included that on this card that has the rules of engagement written out. That it travels along with the pack, but it's just something cool to do. We'll kind of see where all the mountain dude gets to go. Number six, send something useful with the pack to the next person. And Steve, what did you pass on to Johnny?
Steve is actually calling me back. Apparently he hung up.
Oh.
Hang tight real quick. You there, Steve-O?
I'm back.
All right, Steve, Dennis, we got both of you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Dennis, you were just about to ask Steve something. What was that question?
Yeah, so I was saying number six is send something useful with the pack to the next person. Steve, what did you end up sending Johnny?
My useful thing, I guess I put a Velcro patch on it. It's something that I've mentioned to you in the last year or two about how I kind of wish some of the packs had it, because as a value man, I don't want my pack to be only for hunting. I can justify an expensive purchase if I can get more use out of it. And I've always I work with a lot of paramedics as a medevac nurse, and they all seem to have a patch on it from the fire department they used to work for, or from their military unit because they're a veteran. And I thought it would be really nice if our hunting packs could kind of embrace this tactical pack thing, and we put a Velcro slab so you can put your unit patch on it, or so like companies could just sell a $1 insignia Velcro patch, and you can put it on there. So if you're, you know, sponsored by an optics company and a pack company, you can have both those product facings in one shot. So I put a big square of Velcro on it. And it sounds like Johnny Mac has a Washington Backcountry patch that he can slap onto that pack.
I do happen to have a patch that I'm gonna have to remove from a hat that will get to go on there. I was also thinking about some other cool ideas, but I don't wanna give it away right now on the podcast.
No. So, um, yeah, I don't want you to give away your idea for what you would, but I think I'm going to use this as an opportunity to go backwards a little bit, and then I'll let Dennis do the last two. But when Dennis was saying just a minute ago that this concept is really kind of taking on a life of its own, yeah, it has. I think this pack is going to return to me a year from now with its own pulse. It's going to come to life. I was doing my journaling in a little man camp hotel in Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, and like I could feel this brotherhood concept. I could feel the community that was forming with it, and I can envision the journals, the hunt logs. If you're stuck in your tent for a day and it's rainy and foggy and you're trying to wonder how to go about it, you're going to have all the stories from everyone who's had the pack before you to read through, and they're going to kind of serve as guidance. You're going to have those lists in the journal, your favorite feature, the Initial Ascent pack. You're going to learn something. You're going to hear the tip from somebody and say like, I never thought of that. That's awesome. You know, Johnny Mac's little thing just kind of changed my life. Um, and so the next thing is these little things we add on. You know, everybody has at least one great idea in their life, or a secret weapon, a secret tool, and this pack's gonna start collecting all those. And then this is why I didn't want you to tell us your idea, is because every Friday we're going to be able to report on something from the pack in an email, and people can kind of follow along before they clock out for the week. And this is where the brotherhood is more than just the 12 people who get to physically use the pack. Everybody is going to get to learn these little tricks, learn the little hunting tips, and we can all really have one thing to follow behind, and just become better outdoorsmen and better people.
I love that. I love it. All right, so Dennis, take us down the last couple on the list.
Okay, and these are this next one's pretty cool. On the inside of the pack, on the inside of the main body of the pack, using a Sharpie marker, write your name first, the species harvested, and the state you were in on the inside. So that's a really cool thing that when we get done with this, all 12 visits, we're going to be able to go back and look at that and see where it's been, what animals were harvested, and who used it. So that's going to be a really cool thing. And then number 8, it may be one of the most important things: wash the pack and accessories before shipping to the next person.
Very, very important, not only for the end user, but also for all the mail carriers that are going to be handling that pack as it goes on its way to the next person. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Steve actually showed us here at Initial Ascent a different way to do that. You know, you hear guys talk about, well, you know, take your pack and, you know, put it in a tub of cold water, soak it in cold water, use a mild soap, and, you know, scrub it gently, and then hang it out on the clothesline to dry. Well, Steve just takes the thing off the frame, throws it in the washing machine, puts detergent in there, and lets it roll.
Yeah.
And then,
Go make a pizza.
and then after that, he takes it, throws it in the dryer, and lets it roll. So you get a brand new pack when you pull it out of the dryer, man. I did it myself for the first time last October. I came back from a hunt in Utah. Pack was completely bloody, stunk like a ruddy old buck. And Steve told me about that. I said, man, I'm going to try it. So when my wife wasn't looking, I threw it in the washing machine, got it going, and clang, 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 clang. It's bouncing around in there, and threw it in the dryer afterwards. Man, I had a brand new pack. There was no sign of blood, no stink, nothing. It was just perfect.
I love it. That is so cool. And I also love how you mentioned how when your wife wasn't looking, because I guarantee
I know.
that if I tried to even come close to the washing machine with a bloody pack, my wife be like, outside now.
The blood was dry though.
Dude.
Oh man, I love it.
Clang, 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 clang as that tumbles in the dryer. That's gonna be become known as the song of my people.
That's right.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so we got this traveling pack, got rules of engagement. It's going to be all over the North America probably. I mean, who knows? We actually don't really know where it's going to go. Is there any information that you guys want to share as far as like do people want to get involved with this? How do they get involved with this? What is, how can they follow along on the journey? Obviously, you guys did a podcast on Steve's Alaskan Odysseys. I'm releasing this one. But where are people going to be able to find updates on the traveling pack?
Well, Dennis, when I pitched the idea to Dennis, I think by the end of 5 minutes into hearing me rant, he's like, okay, basically, if I could put words into his mouth, he said something, but what he said was, this is actually a pretty massive undertaking because this is going to generate a lot of content and engagement because nobody has done anything like this before.
Correct.
You only get to show off packs at trade shows, really, for most of these direct-to-consumer companies. And so this is going to generate a lot of engagement. So he kind of asked if I would keep with it because, it's my baby. I know how to raise it best, right? Anyways, all that to say, yes, Dennis and I are both taking a big part of keeping this moving forward. And what we decided was that he and I would kind of be the president and vice president of the Brotherhood, and each host would get a large say in telling us who they think would be a good next host. So I think you've pitched an idea, and Dennis and I talked about it yesterday, and are thinking, yeah, Steve will reach out to them, and if I think they're good, I'll bring it to Dennis and Joe for the final say, and we'll send it on to them. So, to really answer your question, I would really like to encourage anybody to reach out to us if they want to host it, because I don't think we don't want this to only go to these like epic kind of hunts, right? It doesn't need to be a Tajikistan Marco Polo or an African rhino hunt or something. Like, if it's just you and your dad going hunting for the first time in 10 years, or, as I said on our little recording a minute ago, if it's just like, if you've been waiting 20 years to draw your bighorn tag in Oregon or Utah or something, like, those are totally cool things that we would love to support you on and join you on. And remember that it's a brotherhood. So yeah, it's promoting Initial Ascent and the packs, but it's also promoting hunting. So if you think that you're want to take a part in sharing your field notes, sharing your ideas, bringing it to where if you have a podcast that you have and you want to be a part of it and can do that, reach out to us, and we'll absolutely get you involved.
I love it. Well, with that being said, how are they going to be getting a hold of you guys? What's the best way to get a hold of you, Dennis, and Steve in regards to the Brotherhood?
Yeah, so for me, you can reach me through Initial Ascent. It's D Stokes, Stokes at initialascent.com. You can email me there, or you can go to Instagram at Initial Ascent, Facebook, um, even our YouTube channel. So I answer all of those, so you can get a hold of me through that easily.
Cool.
Find
And
me. I'm Alaskan Odysseys. Just DM me on Instagram or Facebook would be the easiest for me, and I'll just share my number and we'll call and chat.
awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. And thank you so much, Steve and Dennis, for even entertaining and creating this idea of the Brotherhood of the Traveling Pack. I'm honored to be a part of it and honored to share the mission. I know from when I've worn the pack just around my house, even though I haven't taken it out on a hunt yet, that I have already fallen in love with it, and I can't wait for everyone to experience an Initial Ascent pack. Dennis, Steve, thank you so much. Listeners, make sure to go follow Initial Ascent on social media, as well as go check out Alaskan Odysseys podcast. They're delivering a lot of great content, a lot of cool stories, and with Initial Ascent, just amazing high quality gear. We'll keep you up to date on the Brotherhood. We'll keep you up to date on how the hunt went and where it's going next. And I can't wait to share all this stuff with you. But make sure to go check them out and leave them a note. Tell them that you heard about the Brotherhood on the Soulful Hunter podcast, and we'll just keep it rolling. Thanks, guys, so much for
Johnny.
joining.
I got to do a sign-off story. All right.
All right.
You send me that picture of that buck.
Yep.
Okay. And you said you're pivoting from elk to deer, and I watched that video, and I was like, wow, he's got really nice backs and really good fronts, and I thought that's a really great mule deer, and I thought I'm really proud of Johnny because like I think that's like, he's a really good deer, but he's not like a freakazoid. But I know John is just getting back into hunting. Like he's not harvested a big mule deer yet, or like this is the right move. His head's in the right space. Like I'm very proud of him, and this would be a great one for the deer. And then Dennis tells me today that that's a blacktail, and I'm like, oh, oh, oh.
Yeah. So
there is some magic happening here, but don't think that you have to shoot that buck in order for the magic to happen. Whatever, just be cool, my baby, and just stay awake, and the magic will find you. I ask, since you and me are very different physiques, you're very pretty and I'm not, mainly. Can you show everybody and just like a quick 30-second video how you readjusted the pack to fit you?
Totally.
That's a really important part of it, that it fits everybody, and it's just going to be a matter of redoing a little bit of Velcro and then cinching the belt and the shoulder and the load lifters, and off you go.
Perfect. Will do. And just to reiterate on the whole buck thing, number one, I really wanted to go archery elk hunting, but when I saw this buck, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go get this. And there are some people that say that that's a mule deer on the west side of the Cascade Mountains. I believe that in my heart, it's a blacktail, and regardless of whether it's a blacktail or a mule deer, it'll be scored as a blacktail, and therefore we'll be pushing Boone and Crockett status. And fingers crossed, it'd be sweet to make record books.
The next time you talk to somebody who starts talking smart like that, you just ask them this question. Ready?
Yep.
A cow, a horse, and a blacktail, or a cow, horse, and a deer all eat the same thing. They all eat grass, right? But a cow's poop comes out as a splattery pie. A horse comes out as apples, and deer comes out as little pellets. So ask them why they think that is. And what you're probably going to learn is that they don't know shit.
Well played. Well played.
Oh my word!
I've never heard that before, but I definitely like it, and I will probably have to reuse it in a different manner. So I love it, dude. Steve, thank you so much. Dennis, thank you so much
welcome,
for
man.
your time. You guys are amazing individuals, awesome humans, and definitely soulful hunters. Which you lead with integrity and courage and honor and all that. So way to be ambassadors for the hunting community and everything that we do. Thank you so much, guys. Listeners, go check them out. And don't forget to subscribe to Alaskan Odysseys. Leave a review. Let them know what you think. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Stay soulful. If you enjoyed today's podcast, I'd love it if you could go ahead and give this a rating as well as subscribe. Also, you can check us out on Instagram under the Soulful Hunter Podcast. Make sure to tag us in pictures and posts and use the hashtag Soulful Hunter. To find out more about the Soulful Hunter Podcast, go to soulfulhunter.com and be sure to follow the podcast as we are going to be bringing you a lot of great information, insight, and changing lives through primal adventure. I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. Stay tuned and stay soulful.